as anything, you know, the thoughts about what may happen. We've obviously been in this position before a year ago, and you know, with that, you sit back and you take a breath, and then you kind of realize the things that are really important in life. And in this case, doing everything we can to help facilitate what we can for what may occur, and the preparation, a lot of hard work of the people here, our team. You know, we'll alter our schedules for the noon kickoff, obviously. Our team hotel being one that handles evacuees. We obviously gave our rooms up, so we'll alter the way we do you know, our Friday, and that's the least you can do when something like this is coming up. And you know, I know our guys are looking forward to having the opportunity to play a home game, play in the Swamp, which is a special place. You know, hopefully those couple hours of that ball game can give people a chance to take their mind off of what's real out there in the world, and you know, that's the approach. It's not a distraction. We've had a lot of distractions, and yet that's an excuse for nothing. We've got a lot of families, kids and families, obviously, from down south, and our thoughts are with them as well. And obviously all the workers that are involved in something like this. So that's what's happening. Injury report, Chauncey went today. Should be good to go. To answer your question, I didn't know how much he was going to practice today till he got out there. I think after you asked me today on the conference call on that, Goolsby's out. I don't know when he'll ever be back. You probably saw where James Robinson went out there. He had something show up in his echocardiogram, or whatever, echocardiogram, whatever it's called, which is not good. Obviously our specialists and Shands will handle exactly what that is. We'll take every precaution to help him as he moves forward. And you know, Gamble, he'll be back next week. He won't be there this week. Kyle Trask, as I talked about, he had bolt put in his foot this morning, and everything you know, went according there. So that's kind of where we're at. And you know, I think as you guys think, reflect, have an opportunity. I think the biggest thing is the important lesson of giving of ourselves for the benefit of others, and that's what each one of us should do and always think moving forward. And you know, get ready for that game that we moved up from 7 to noon.
Thomas.
I know you don't necessarily get into the medical details and all that. The echocardiogram, is that a heartbeat type thing?
Well, you know, the kinesiology and the stuff that I had to take, I think you probably look it up. I think the heart muscle has something to do there. I don't know exactly from there, but it's not a high ankle sprain, I'll tell you that.
And then any updates on the suspension, just as a housekeeping?
Robbie.
Coach, Friday night, now what would the plan be now? Guys can stay in their apartments or houses? Or?
Yeah, and you know, part of that too is they've got to prepare for what may happen, as our governor has stated for everybody in the state of Florida. And you know, that's part of it, and they'll have an opportunity to do that. Obviously, we'll have plans. You know, if they need to come over here and sleep on the floor in the weight room or whatever, we'll do whatever we have to do.
Brian.
Not knowing Chauncey's status until today, how did you balance the importance of having him out there with maybe not hold him out a week and make sure he's ready for Tennessee next week.
There's no holding anybody out. I mean, guys that are competitors want to play. I don't care. Holding out. I mean, you got a chance to win the swap. Now, I don't understand this mentality of I'm going to save myself. For what? So you go through life, you only get certain opportunities. Take advantage of them and go do it.
Edgar?
Just what is the challenge of keeping guys focused and 30 guys from South Florida, obviously that's the area that's supposed
Yeah,
to be
you
the
know,
hardest.
Edgar, I don't, it is a challenge, and yet we have a responsibility. That responsibility is to be a Florida Gator. Doesn't mean you don't care. What it means is you got to focus on the task at hand, and our guys are coming out ready to play. Obviously, there's a lot bigger things going on, and yet, you know what? We've been through that here already since we've been here. A lot of different things that have gone on, and that's all part of it's all part of the journey. Just learning how to deal with it.
In terms of the offense, what have you seen from Felipe this week, the offensive line, the run game, and what kind of energy and improvements have you seen?
Well, we'll find out on Saturday. They understand obviously what needs to happen, and then we'll see how they respond.
Nick over here.
Do you think the players are able to maybe compartmentalize, or when they're on the field, to kind of maybe just take their mind off of it and do stuff like that?
Well, in a perfect world, if you focus on the now and the task at hand, that compartmentalizing whatever it is pretty easy. You've heard coaches talk about clutter. The difference here is this is real, and it's a lot bigger than blocking and tackling. And yet, you know what? We have a responsibility to our fans to maybe take some of the things that may be concerning them and give them a little 3 hours of something for them to take their mind off of what may be going on.
Are you guys allowed to help out families as far as get them out of an area or anything like that?
We have a lot of things in place as an athletic department to do whatever we can under NCAA rules, right? But what we're talking about is people's lives. That's what's real.
Edgar?
If you put yourself in Northern Colorado's shoes, and what kind of a challenge is it for them?
What a great thing for their kids when this game was scheduled. They're going to have an opportunity to come in here. I saw last week where, was it Howard went and knocked off Vegas, I think it was. It was lopsided, whatever it was going into it. Having been in the Big Sky Conference, man, these are just exciting times. These are things you get to come play at one of the most iconic buildings in all of college football. Something that's talked about wherever you're at. And but for them, I know they have some kids from the state of Florida on their team that I'm sure have some concerns as well. And knowing their head coach that I obviously got to know when I was back at Colorado State. This guy's really a good guy and gets it. I know he's excited for his players to have this opportunity to come play, and yet he also understands the challenges that all of us are having.
Do you have in mind, there are a few players specifically that you really would like to see a bounce back from this week? Does anybody kind of jump out to you that you'd like to see?
I'd just like to see a total team effort, I guess. From that standpoint, that to me is what I'd like to see. Like to see us play clean, hard, physical. And then move on from there.
Thomas and then Kevin.
I know last week going in, the plan was to play multiple quarterbacks. Is that kind of the same situation this week?
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
Kevin.
Coach, I know how important establishing the run is to you. How much do you want to see that kind of get going this week compared to what happened last week?
Well, there isn't a coach in America that, even Mouse Davis believed in the run, and everything you do comes off of it. Your ability to run the football and establish the line of scrimmage allows you to be a pretty decent team.
And, just in evaluating last week, how much of it was, because you talked a lot about the offensive line, kind of being done. How much of it did you view on film? Was it the offensive line, or could the running backs even have done more?
Well, everybody has a part, that's a good question, but it's a team game.
Zach over here.
Jim, I know with everything going on this week, this is probably not time to reflect, but going back to the class of 2016, that was a really important year for you in recruiting, or in quarterback recruiting rather, because you guys didn't get a guy last year, and Felipe was the one that you and Doug set your sights on. When you think back to that recruiting process and getting to know him, being around his family, he comes from pretty humble beginnings. What did you guys see in him that made you feel like he's a guy that we can bring in?
Well, one of the things about Felipe that I really like is very important to him. It means a lot, and his teammates mean a lot to him. And he obviously has tools, and we'll just continue to keep getting that out of him. But for us, it was a huge recruit for us, and still is.
And last week, you naming him the starter kind of got lost in all the news, but that was a big moment for him. And I think you would agree with me that to really understand how far he came to win that job, you got to understand where he was when he got here as a player. Can you speak to that transformation?
No, I just did. Being a Gator, his teammates, the work he's